Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast.
And we get the back view of him, and I mean, it's just a mega.
52 yards is a long shot. Magnum PI, what we named him. No idea.
Just a magnum.
Yeah, just a magnum.
Come on cam last year, we said probably 150, mid 150.
Yeah.
Same doe from the morning come out with that 9-pointer.
Here steps out this 90-inch 8-pointer. You're like,
I'm like, okay, well, there's still a buck back there grunting.
Yeah.
And then out steps like another 90-inch 8-pointer. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm like, deer right there.
Yeah, like
and he's already
yards.
30 yards.
Yeah.
He was literally 5 yards from the base of the tree. Could have been, had a buck down at 1:40 in the afternoon, back there deep on public. 3 does come out pretty early. It was like 245, 24-yard shot, sent to combat veteran, and I tell you what, man, dude, it just smoked. We always get so jacked up when the other person kills. It's just almost like we got it done.
Yeah. And when you killed that doe, I was like, hell yeah, man.
And we come down here to Missouri.
I asked Homie one more time. I'm like, is it a good buck? And he goes, yeah, real good, solid buck. I'm like, all right, boom. And the deer just drops. Sure. Super special meat.
Whitetail Legacy Podcast, bringing you back to the hunt and leaving a legacy. Baller Rut.
Not very confident over there.
It's
been a minute.
Little squiggles
All
over
right,
here.
welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast, coming in your ear holes. And we're talking about pickles. Not cheeseburger pickles.
Yeah,
we're talking about deer
yeah.
pickles. Coming at you. We got Jesse in the studio. Heaters are blaring. 12 degrees outside. Cold as balls. Probably hella background noise in this thing. I got no earmuffs. Earmuffs are right there, Jesse. It's you need those in. It's a complete.
We're missing the most important guest.
Yeah.
Where's the cricket?
No, we got hella shout-outs for the cricket. I leaf blowed that fucker out of here a long time ago. I was like, how am I going to cricket out of here? Leaf blower, OG move. But, all right, guys, well, let's get to the people that make this possible. We're going to get into the show. Going to start off with Ride-On Optics, guys. I had an optic from a muzzleloader that kind of went to shit, and I'm really excited to get one of their optics and have a lifetime warranty where I don't have to worry about it. I was planning on using this optic for a long time, paid really good money for it, and now I'm out the money and I'm out the scope. So excited to get a product that I can get a brand new scope in 3 days, 3 business days. That's their warranty. You don't get a replace one, you don't get a fixed one, you get a brand new one in 3 business days sent to you. So that's hard to beat. Yeah. What else you got over there, homie? He's got his headphones.
Yep, I'm switched and I'm ready to go.
You ready to rip now?
Exodus outdoor gear. Exodus trail cameras. We have been making some hella moves with trail cameras here lately. Bucks we know are getting killed, and that's causing us to always be on the go. So when you're targeting a buck, that tends to happen. And we got some on some late season food sources, got some in the game. Bucks are still hitting a couple scrapes that are opened up, and we're just going to be monitoring them cams and making moves when we know it's necessary to do so. So late season, you can have that cam out there soaking with that 5-year warranty backed by them with no BS on theft or damage. Moving into next level deer supplements, time to get the feed out. It's very important. Just think about it now. We got pregnant does out there, and you can get them fawns a head start on
big
life.
Big buck fetuses out there, guys.
yes. And, it's a great product for overall herd health, and we all know what it's going to do to them young bucks coming up. Last Breath TV, the man in this room, Mr. Jesse Hines, laid down this footage for us. So being a team player, and Jesse's never hunted public land, so that was a new, unique experience for him. And we'll get into that here in the show. But this hunt is the shorty version is on their Last Breath YouTube channel. You can go out there and watch that now, and you can do that right after this podcast. Black Rifle Coffee. Use code Whitetail Legacy to get 20% off your order. Christmas is right around the corner, and that would be a great gift to give.
Yeah, and I just wanted to do a shout out for the coffee club. I thought like, okay, cool, but not having to worry about it at all. Literally about when I'm out, shit's there. Like 4 or 5 days early, I'm like, hell yeah.
It's actually a time you come home and the shit on the front porch is for you.
Yeah. And it's super reasonable because if you go and buy, like, say you buy a bag of coffee, the shipping for the coffee club is cheaper than the shipping regular for, because it's every month, you know what I mean? So, and you can switch it up. Like, okay, this month I want this. This month I got some where Santa Claus is smoking a cigar and cup of coffee and shit, you know what I mean? Just switching it up, just trying different coffee with... there's so many different coffees out there, bro. You think beer is intense? Get in the coffee game. It's like, I don't even know how to black Java. I'm like, what the hell? They got they got hella shit going on.
I'm sticking true to the gunship. I need to get off of it and try some others, but just the old tried and true faithful for me is the gunship.
Yeah.
Last one here, Badlands code. If you're looking for it, we got it. Or you can hit up the Last Breath crew, and they will give it to you. Cody and I said we don't know how cold it has to be to wear that pirate jacket, but it's below 21 degrees with an 8-mile-an-hour wind. Because when you put them bibs on, them bibs do hella work
shout
out
out
there.
the pirate jacket. We
Not
were like,
even without the coat.
I haven't wore the coat I can't remember ever wearing that. I know I wore it during the shotgun season when I was filming.
Okay, yeah, we wore it
because
that
it was
morning.
brutal. I don't know what the wind was doing that day, but homie, I'm like, oh yeah, cut your way into the cedar tree. Dude cut the cedar tree down and left a shaft right in the wind. But there was we wouldn't have got busted from deer because there's a lot of cover
from out the ground,
out the ground. But for wind, absolutely nothing. We're just straight facing it.
If you drive around the block and look at that tree,
you drive from the road, you're like, God, someone mutilated that tree back there.
Something's going on right there.
Yeah, you got to get 2 guys in the tree that's 6 inches around. You got to do some.
It's our specialty.
Yeah,
almost.
you got to do some. Kill the coyote.
Yeah.
Kill tree.
Kill tree. That's where you got to be.
All right, guys, get into this hunt. I want to know what happened out there on the public ground.
Alrighty, so we'll kind of start from the beginning of Pickles, and as you guys probably heard on the episode where we said we were going to kill 2 bucks in October, we were just kind of laying out the game plan going into season, and Pickles was one of the bucks that we covered, and it was a deer that we had on camera in 2020, and that was because we picked up a lease right across the road, and Cody was out doing some late summer scouting, and while he was doing that, a buck ran across the road in front of him, and Cody's got, the truck full of kids and everything that we always seem to have going on, and it went right into the public piece, and so Cody's trying to scout for this other buck that we had on the lease before we lost it, and then and then he's like, shit, we got to get over here for this deer that I just seen go in there. So, the deer obviously going to be on both pieces, just got to cross the highway. And we put a camera out, and we made a scrape along the field edge, and lo and behold, we had this buck on cam. And then the game was on. That season, we had corn by the timber and beans up by the road, and then across the road on our lease was corn. So there's some options for him to bed on. Not a lot of timber, but still some options for him to bed with the corn being in and it being late summer. So we do the card pull, got him on the scrape, and then we're just start deploying more cameras and thinking about where this buck's most likely going to bed when the crops are going to be coming out. Actually, in season when we can hunt. And there's just a little tiny wood lot that is going to be about the only thing standing if he's going to be anywhere that we can hunt. And we went in there, kind of scouted it, threw some cameras in there, and just kind of waited. as far as late summer 2020 going into hunting season.
See the accuracy on that?
When Cody was with the kids and he seen that deer run across the road, he asked his oldest boy, like, "Oh, what do you think we ought to name that deer?" And just 5-year-old being a 5-year-old without any hesitation, it was just Pickles. So,
Random name ever.
we knew it was Pickles because he's got a pretty distinct characteristic of a flyer off his left G2, and so that's how Pickles got his name.
His left side is exactly the same from the year before, but his right side was as good or better than the left side the year before.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened to him where he lost, he's either old as shit or got hurt or something. But yeah, he was bigger the year before you killed him, and his right side was bigger than his left side. So he was probably 155 or 160.
I would say
what we were thinking.
160-ish, yeah, because, it was huge.
Yeah.
And way bigger on camera last year than he was looking on camera this year.
Yeah.
So I would say closer to 60.
Yeah, just like you see, you're like, damn, that's a good frame. Like,
hell
really
yeah.
solid frame. Good brows. Like,
real nice 10-pointer, good 4s.
we were all over him and probably could have killed that deer, but we made the mistake of just so focused on one or two deer, we
yeah,
just completely forgot that the deer even existed.
Yeah, so going through film when I was getting stuff organized for Grant, we hunted up there October 12th or October 15th, and
I had a good hunt, yeah.
Yeah, I even said in the interview, I was like, we've been hunting, and we've been hunting 2 giants at that point because we were hunting the giant typical.
Yeah, yeah.
And, I said we kind of forgot about Pickles, and he's been here.
Yeah.
And, it just kind of, you're hunting a giant deer, that shit happens. You got to choose. You can't be in 3 spots at once hunting different deer.
That's the thing with us. Like, we keep saying, you're hunting one tree. Like, you got 2 guys out there hunting one tree. So for us to figure out the ground together, it takes twice as long as it would if we were splitting up and bebopping around. So it's either hunt one deer and that's it. And we don't really like, oh, that's my deer, this is my deer. We don't really do that. So it's like, okay, what deer do we want to kill?
Yeah.
We're going to try to kill that one, and
Yep.
And it went from Pickles was like the deer we wanted to kill. Him and Westside, I feel like that this year was like, okay, like early season, we're like, all right, these 2 shitheads got a good chance.
That short tine 10 keeps fucking around. He's going to get it too.
That short tine 10. If someone wouldn't have sent me to the wrong tree, I might have had a shot at that sucker.
Camera's got misnamed there.
Yeah, I hung the cams. Homie told me where the deer was going. Went to the wrong spot.
Classic.
Just
move. Classic. So, and then, as you guys know, of course, the rut of 2020 was an absolute shit show. Hot as balls out there, and we got our ass kicked. And we did throw an actual couple hunts up there at Pickles. Rattled in an Alabama 11-pointer, a giant spike buck up there, and I think we've seen a couple does at dark.
Well, and, even with the rut this year, we realized that place is kind of, any pressure gets in there, gone. Gone. Like, you got to be in there early October when they were laying sign down. Mm-hmm. That's when you got to be in there. Hopefully, we can do the same thing where, maybe not killing the first day, but another buck slides in there, and we know that.
He's like, shit, this ain't bad.
Yeah,
I like
this ain't bad. We can slide in there.
One thing I said on the 2-Buck podcast is, like, I was really looking forward to hunting there, like the late October timeframe, because that's when it was super fire in there last year. A handful of daylight shooters in there, not including the ones that were in there at night, but just the ones in daylight that we could have killed. There's a handful of them. And then that's kind of like, okay, we hunted up there in the rut, and then after we knew we weren't going to go back in there, we were just going to finish out the rut, hunting Magnum hard, because you only got 4 days left, so it's just like, okay, we're going to dedicate that to Magnum, and this up here's a wash, because then it closes. So we took the time that morning to get down and scout that timber block, and the sign in there was incredible. Like, it was white hot when we knew it was white hot there late October. And there's just no does in there for a buck to stay in there at that November time frame.
Kick that a little bit.
Oh, okay. I was saying,
There
I
you go.
moved my leg and it just started giving me the vibrator job over here. I was like,
Got hella
"Whoa,
background
shit."
noise. Hella background noise. That's what, we got heaters out the ass out here.
So coming into this year, we knew this timber was most likely going to hold something. We just needed to get a couple cell cams in there, and we knew pretty much exactly where we wanted to put them at. We didn't walk. I guess we did walk through the timber to hang one camera from the other one. We didn't walk around that, and that was the only time we were in this block was on August 14th, I believe, was the first picture, but I think he was there, like, immediately.
The reason I'm glad we walked in there, because the reason I hung the cam on the exact spot that I did was because that scrape wasn't there, and it was kind of a shit spot, and we were kind of trying to decide, okay, where do we want to put this cam? We walked in there, and that washout had happened, and they had to walk that washout, and they're gonna be right on that trail. I'm like, okay, if there's a deer bedded in here, and it has to go around this washout, it's gonna be right on this cam. But remember, the limb was gone for that scrape.
Yep.
We knew it was gonna be bullshit. It was thick as hell. You could see 15 yards on that cam, maybe. It was a bullshit spot, but we're like, okay. If there's one deer in here, it's probably going to be him, and he's going to be on this trail because if he walks this around this washout, he's going to, I mean, why would you go off a clean trail after you already had to go to it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Work right
I
out.
can't tell you guys about being more confident as knowing where a camera's going to go than I was about that camera going right there.
Yeah.
Until we got in there and was
Yeah.
like, what in the hell happened in here? Like, and it's not just a whole summer thing. Like, it just felt like a totally different spot.
I feel like there
than
was a lot
what
of
the
rain,
hell.
and all that undergrowth really popped in there compared to last year. There wasn't that much brush there.
No, it was totally different.
There was brush to the right of there, you know, like where that small buck was bedded. It was kind of thick over there,
Right.
but where we were at is more like an oak timber with leaves, you know, and no brush. I feel like maybe that growth worked that way that year, or we just got so much rain early that all that shit sprouted and just grew up like crazy. But the scrape was gone.
Yeah, it was not
We
existent.
knew they weren't going to hit that tree. Like the scrape was, the first limb was taller than my head. We
Yeah.
were like, this thing's gone.
We're trying to find another limb on that tree to
Yeah.
make a new scrape because we knew that it's going to be
Yeah.
on the trail just like it was, you know.
Probably
last year,
second
trying to make
biggest
it on the
scrape
trail.
I've ever seen was on that tree, though.
The what?
That's probably the second biggest
Oh,
ground
yeah.
scrape I've ever seen. The first biggest is the one,
The car hood at
the car hood at public.
where we
the
got-
public.
yeah.
That thing is
where we got the
nuts,
cam
dude.
now, or
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
there, yeah. So that's the only time we were in there. It was middle of August. We waited. Obviously, you guys probably know we waited to get the cams out this summer, and we got one on the north end, one on the south end. We can kind of see him coming into this bedding. We can see him leaving this bedding, and
One
he
of the
was on
smartest
cam
moves we did
immediately.
all year was not put cams out early.
Yeah.
Smartest thing ever. I
Yep.
think we can go a week or 2 weeks later next year.
I think we can too, and then we know
Yeah.
because it was like you get that low battery
Yeah.
message like 2 weeks before season, and you're like, shit, like just
Yeah.
keep making it, man, just keep making it.
But the good thing is Pickles was like the only deer in there.
Yeah,
you
so
were
it's only getting turned on.
You were getting one picture a day.
We
Yeah.
were getting quite a few blanks on that.
Were you?
Yeah, we were getting. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just
'cause it
so
was-
thick, man.
Yeah.
Wind blows.
Yeah, wind blows. There was a couple does in there. There was a small 8-pointer that was with him once or
Couple,
twice.
yeah.
But for
couple.
the majority, it
Yeah.
was just Pickles, and you were getting one picture of him a day.
Yeah.
Or maybe just one.
It was a 3-shot burst.
Yeah,
Just hit
3-shot
well,
burst,
yeah.
and then
Yeah.
sometimes he was there in the morning, but
Just
Yeah,
him
sometimes
going
coming
out.
in, but
yeah, most of
him
him
going
just him
out.
going out. Yeah.
So yeah,
So
Yeah, I mean,
that helps.
if that would have been there 2 months earlier, it had 2 months more growth, 2 much more, month more blanks.
and we would have had to go in there and change batteries.
Yeah.
100%.
100%. And you need to go into that, like, we already had a tree picked out and all that shit. I think
Yeah,
that's
and
key as hell.
so we got the cams in there set up, and he's on there immediately. And then towards the end of August, he starts hitting it like a couple days in a row. And then beginning of September comes in, and now we're starting to lose velvet. And so now in my mind, I'm like, okay, this is the time of the year where this sumbitch is going to be here, and then he's going to be gone, and he's going to come back, hopefully. But when he comes back, he's going to be nocturnal because that's kind of how our shindig rolls. And
That's how most people roll.
yeah, it started. September started ticking away, and he was still there. Not every day, but he was still there 3 times a week. He was there half the week. And so now I started going through the checklist of like things that are going to change between now and opening day. We got to lose velvet. We got acorns that are going to be falling. We got crops that are going to be coming out. Maybe some last minute hunters trying to find a spot to hunt opening weekend because opening day is on Friday. So a lot of variables that, and we still got 3 weeks till season. And we got to buck daylighting quite a bit, the most we've had. So he goes through, sheds velvet, and still there. He might have been at night a couple times, but then I want to say September 11th, September 12th, we start an absolute streak of days where Pickles is on camera every day in the evening, and I want to say maybe 2 or 3 times in the morning in that first 10 days, because it was 10 days in a row right off the rip. And every day it was just like another day closer to being able to hunt. He's still there, got the velvet off, we're still there, and now we're feeling really confident that we know he's bedding in there because he's just coming out in the evening. We never really got him in the morning besides that couple times, but like to know that he was going in there to bed. So he was coming in a different way.
He was J-hooking in that from the north off the ag. So
Yeah.
that thing. J-hooking around that lake,
And then
safest
just
way.
popping right in there
Yeah.
off that road.
Yeah. One thing that I think is key that I don't know if we've mentioned, but we had a lot of them last year further towards the west, further towards the private. But the
East.
private, yeah, east, sorry. But the private was corn.
Mm-hmm.
Then we thought he was bedding in the corn. And it blows me away that he wasn't bedded in the corn where he, on the public this year. But
It was closer to the road. It
Yeah.
was right next to the road this year.
But he wasn't over there early season, last year or last year, I guess we had
Yeah.
him over there at the corn because we
Yep.
thought he was bedding across the road and popping over. So that made a huge difference. That's all being beams this year.
Mm-hmm.
The only other likely place for him to go would be where he was in October, So, and then, he shed the velvet, and then the next thing was like, okay, the corn's going to come out. Like, that's the one buffer he has from the parking, from the people walking in there. Like, he has this corn buffer. Once that I remember telling you, I said,
Yeah.
the only thing we got is if the corn goes and he stays, he's there. Like, there's no reason unless someone goes in there
Bumps him.
and bumps him. But all year, well, not all, we can't say all year, but to the end of November, we ran cams in there and got one person on cam.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
All year, yeah. We had cams on the south and the north of that. So one guy walking through there one day and then walking through there with a climber the next, getting ready to set up. And he was from Alabama. I talked to him. So he's
Alabama 11-pointer's
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
take a ride.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like Cody said, we got this deer, and he's in there every day. It doesn't matter the wind. It doesn't matter the temperature, the wind direction,
85,
precipitation.
sunny.
So wild to me.
Daylight.
He is in there every day, and on September 11th or 12th, he goes in there and is in there for 10 days, and then he takes a break. He breaks off for a day, but you did get a couple blanks, and we'll get back to the blanks later in the story. And so then he starts another streak of
Consistent blinks at the right time period. It wasn't just like random blinks. It was like he was within 12, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, and then I get the 3 blanks like right there. I'm like, he's probably in there. I just got blanks,
And then he starts another string of days, and by the time season comes in, this deer's been on cam 19 days in a row.
Yeah. Freaking nuts.
Absolutely unheard of, like, for us, This is a public land deer, and
150 class deer.
150 class deer,
Old deer, like,
and he's just in there hanging out.
Yeah.
Like, that's his spot. So we get all through all the variables that could possibly happen, and Cody has to take a birthday trip for his boy, because your boy's birthday is on opening day, right?
Mhm.
Actual birthday's on opening day.
But 10-4. I got one
10-4.
opening day and one
Oh, yeah.
10-4.
Savage.
Yeah.
So Cody gets signed up to go to a family vacation, and he's not able to hunt the first day. So that defaults me behind the bow. And
Yeah, and you were like, I'm not going to go. I'm like,
I was
go
like, yeah.
kill that motherfucker, dude. Hey, you can't just have I just lined up for a grand slam out here, bro.
Yeah.
You're going to take a walk? Hell no.
it's just because, like, you seen the deer,
Yeah.
and Rainer got to,
No,
name it and
it's-
shit. And
No. Smash him.
so Cody's like, get your ass in there. And so I messaged Jesse in a couple weeks
that.
before. I was like, man, here's the deal. We got this deer.
Yeah.
And he's in there. Like, there's nothing else to say. He's
Yeah,
in there.
It was like mid-September when I got into this, and we started like a group chat.
Yeah.
At,
Mhm.
like the past or the last week of September is like, okay, what time's he gonna come in here?
Yeah, first we started taking bets if he was going to show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we got so cocky
It
we
was
started
like, what
taking
time?
bets on
The
what time.
time.
Yeah. We were like, oh, it's a little warmer today. Like 3 minutes later.
Well,
like,
we were all guessed late that night, and he was
Yeah,
way
he was
early.
early as
He was
hell.
way early.
Like
so,
6:37.
I was
Shooting
like,
time is
what are we
probably
doing out here?
7:15.
yeah.
So
So we got Jesse in the game. Jesse's like, I'll come film you. You and Matt probably weren't gonna hunt that
What's
evening
what's
anyway.
the chances of having something lined up? Oh, like I could hunt the second. I just couldn't
Right.
hunt opening evening. Like, what's the chance of having something tied up out there opening evening, ready to rip? I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. I'll have all this in the bank for, all hunting season. Be like, hey, I didn't hunt opening day, because I went on this trip. Like, but he's had one tied up out there.
Yeah,
I'm glad
literally.
Jesse
I
could
mean,
step in
almost
and help
tied
us
up.
out, yeah.
So Friday at work, like, I am just, because he was there. So he missed Tuesday night, but we got blanks. He missed Tuesday night, the week that season comes in on Friday, and which was good because he was going on a long ass streak, and I'm like, he needs to miss a day so
Yeah.
we can reset, and he'll be there Friday.
Yeah, a lot of the pictures I were getting, like, I would damn near miss him, but I get, like, half of his body, and he had that scar.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, he's there.
And like halfway through this whole month of September, I'm like, Cody's just sending me the same damn picture because it's just a quartering away ass shot, and you can see it's a full body shot, but he's just quartering away, and it's like you're just sending me one of the different
he's in
3-shot
the-
bursts.
He's in the same spot every time. I thought that's what you guys were doing with me too.
Yeah,
It's like,
we're just like-
it's like right leg forward, left leg back, quartering away. It's like the deer's just like standing in the same spot over and over and over.
Yeah. It's nuts, man.
So all day he was there Thursday night, of course, and all day Friday. Like I'm jacked up. I'm beside myself. I'm excited. I don't know what to expect. Besides, there's gonna be a big buck bedded in there, and we're gonna go in there and try to set up. So, as I said in the beginning, Jesse, you've never hunted public land, so we had to stop by Cody's house and grab Cody's stand and sticks, and you got to take that for a spin. How was the packing in experience for you, having not done it before?
It actually wasn't as bad. Of course, we didn't have the walk wasn't extreme by any stretch of the imagination, but it wasn't as bad as I expected. The stand was real light, and of course it was warm. We didn't have a lot of clothes on, so it wasn't like I wasn't.
Oh, you just had to
bolted
stand
down.
too. Oh no.
Yeah, you didn't take my
No,
sticks.
yeah.
just-
He had
I
to
didn't
stand.
have
just
my
used your
sticks yet.
sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't have my sticks
Oh, it was
yet.
my sticks?
Yeah, it was your sticks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
So-
yeah, you're just out there raw
so-
dogging with the stand, no
so, yeah.
backpack.
Light
Yeah.
as hell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
light as
it
hell.
was.
Could
It
be
wasn't-
sprinting out there.
It wasn't bad at all. Of course, you were loaded down with.
Yeah, I had the mother. That's what I call the mother load. When you got the stand, sticks, and camera gear,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the mother load.
But yeah, it wasn't bad. We got to the tree, and of course, getting there was a little interesting. no, obviously public land, you can't cut anything.
Yeah.
So there's like you got to walk through. It's October 1st. There's freaking.
And we said it was thick,
It's
you know.
thick
It's
in there.
So we had 2 trees picked out, and we could hunt it, you know, pretty much make any wind work in there to get it done.
Besides an east, yeah. Anything but an east.
Anything but straight east, yeah. And we had a southeast, which was absolutely perfect. It was going to be the same exact tree that Cody and I hunted in the fall of 2020. So the thing about this hunt is, you know that the deer's in there bedded. You're going to be set up within 80 yards of him, and it's your first hunt of the year. And you're hanging and hunting. You're going to need to act like it's November 10th and you've hunted 25 times already, and you need to be quiet as shit and be dialed in 100% while you're setting up. So that's just where it goes back into preparation of, you know, the summertime, practicing with your gear, hanging your stuff. I had 2 new sticks that I was running for the first time. A totally new stand for Cody to set up that I had never set up before for Jesse to sit in. And it was just, you know, like I said before, I was kind of beside myself, but once...
Thank God it wasn't a morning hunt.
Oh, yeah. And thank God I didn't take no water bottles.
Yeah, opening morning would have been brutal.
Water bottles definitely not allowed on this hunt. Yeah. The one hunt I took a water bottle this year, dropped it.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
One hunt.
Every year guaranteed, drop the water bottle.
I was like, okay, it's November, I'm good. Nope, dropped it.
Yeah.
So once we get in the tree and, you know, we get set up at a little after 4, and finally about 4:30, just sitting there chilling, and I'm like, okay, like, I'm in the tree. We're all set up.
How'd you guys get in? Were you quiet?
We got in hella quiet.
Yeah, we were pretty quiet.
Yeah, we got in real good.
Did you come from the back of that tree and put the sticks on the back?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you set up
I set up facing the camera.
Oh, you set up facing the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Jesse would have been facing straight east.
Yeah. I was
And you
facing,
face this
towards
way.
the field.
Okay. That's not. I figured you had to set. With you being right-handed, I figured you would have set.
Facing southwest.
Yeah, like angled more this way,
Yeah.
expecting him to come in, and you would have been the camera guy more towards the
South.
trail. Yeah.
So the whole time we're setting up, Jesse's just like, man, do you need me to do anything? You know, what do you want me to do? And I was like, just the next thing, just get it ready, get the straps out. Guy wanted to help so bad,
Well,
just didn't
I
know
feel
the
bad,
next step. Yeah, and I could tell you where I'm like, it's fine, just we're good.
You guys have you guys have all your kinks worked out. You know exactly how, you guys' minds think alike. Well, this is my first time doing anything with either one of you hunting for deer, and like I have no idea. I've hung stands before, of course, but you guys have your own little way of doing it. So, but
especially just totally different gear than a regular preset stand, you know.
We got it all figured out by
And-
about the third
Pretty much
stage.
would have been the same game if the roles were reversed. Like if we went down to hunt with you and Matt, like
Right.
you know, it would just be a totally different setup almost. And so we're in the tree, we're all set up, and about I don't know, Jesse, almost a little before 5, a rainstorm rolls in, and I didn't even know it was supposed to rain. I thought we were gonna have a nice, cool hunt, and like it was raining pretty damn bad. I wouldn't want it to rain any harder than what it did. And I asked Jesse, I was like, what does radar look like, and when does it say it's gonna stop? And he
It
said
was raining on me on the way down there, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I was messaging you. I'm like, oh, how'd you get in,
Well,
and how's it going, you know?
We heard thunder crack, and we're like, what? Because it was like sunny and nice out.
The
And
wife's
then-
texting me, the kids are outside playing at home. I'm like, it's
Yeah.
raining its ass off out
I
here.
didn't know how confident you were going in, but I was like,
Killing.
this fucker's killing. Like, I didn't know what you were feeling like, but I'm like,
Yeah.
when
What-
you were leaving my yard, I'm like, going quiet,
Yeah.
J-hook in, because
Yeah.
like it's you're gonna kill. Like it's go
Miranda
time.
Yeah,
text-
I guess all day I just didn't want to believe that it was like gonna happen like that, because the shit never does like
Yeah.
that. But when I got in the tree, man, I was like, here we go. And at 6:30, like it's gonna be real.
Yeah.
It's gonna be real, you know.
Well, and like another thing is like, of course it rained and I told you, once this rain stops, like he's gonna move.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's what we were saying back and forth. And when I asked you what time it said it was gonna stop, you said 6:30, and I was like, oh,
Yeah, that's perfect.
perfect, because he's been coming between 6:35 and 7:15, and I want to say shooting is somewhere around 7:10.
Yeah.
So on the back end, he wouldn't have made it, but with this rain, and it cooled off about 12 degrees when this front came in.
We were kind of worried because that farmer was plowing the field, so we're like, that could throw him off. Like,
So we did have a little extra
not
cover
wanna go
noise.
Was he
out there.
plowing or was he brush hogging?
Plowing.
plowing?
Yeah.
Because sometimes they brush hog that corn for the geese.
No, yeah, it was already all out.
Was it? Okay.
Mm-hmm. So
It's so weird. They brush hog it and then they don't allow any hunting on it. I'm like, what are you guys doing out there? That's so dumb to me.
And one thing, when this
I guess
rainstorm
it gets
came
them on
in,
gets it on the ground.
we had a northwest wind while this rain came in. So it was northwest for us for about an hour. And that would be fine. I just had to shoot him before he got downwind.
Yeah.
And then as soon as it went away, it switched back southeast, and we're all
Man,
good to go.
He probably felt hella comfortable with the wind coming at him, and then it switched, and he got nothing during that storm on the back burner, and then it switched again, and he got nothing.
He
He's
would-
like, I'm golden right
You would
now.
think, but old boy stood there for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like shortly 6:10ish, and it's just now barely sprinkling,
I think
misting.
I don't even think it was rain. I think it was just the residual coming off the leaves.
Yeah, probably. And because I mean, it was doing nothing. The sun came out. It was nice, and for some damn reason, we're just sitting there. I'm like, okay, like 20 minutes, shit's go time. Probably just stand up the rest of the hunt at 6:30, and we'll be ready. But for some reason, I just look over, and at the base of this tree out there, about 80 yards, there's the brightest orange light I've seen in the timber next to a knock out there. And I'm like, what in the hell is that? And I have no idea what this was at the base of the tree. But I bino it, and while I'm binoing the base of this tree, I see a deer face walk behind, or right in front of the tree, and then I see his left side, which is Pickles' strong side, and I'm like, whoa, shit. There's a big deer over there right now. And he was kind of angling towards us, but then he stops, and then he starts facing northwest, which would be completely 180 away from us. So I'm looking at his ass now, and I'm like, Jesse, shooter over there. And with me seeing his left side first, I was trying to look on his G2 to find that kicker, and I never could. So I was like, man, just some random giant in here right now.
Did you know he was a 9-pointer?
Yeah.
You did? I didn't
Yeah.
know because the pictures I sent you guys, like,
Well-
you got one, like, front shot during daylight,
Uh-huh.
and then, like, I was getting a lot more angles of him,
Right.
but I was just sending, like,
The
one of the
one.
best ones, but I got to see a lot more pictures of his ass because I got a
And
lot
that
more.
his 4 is always blended into his beam.
That every mobile trail cam company needs to make an app where multiple people can see the pictures if they want.
Yeah.
Like, you need to be able to log in as a group hunt or something. They need to make that a feature. Because one guy having control of one cam, it's helpful if both guys or whatever your hunting group can look at the picture and then be like, okay, this deer's doing this. A lot of times, you think the deer's doing something. I think he's doing something completely different. And then sometimes we think he's doing the exact same thing.
And just
But-
like you said, a lot of shit changes in a 3-shot burst.
Yeah.
Depending on the
Yeah.
delay of the camera. And
then I'm like,
am
am I
I
gonna
only
send
sending
him-
you one pick?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
he goes and takes a right. Like, okay. That,
yeah.
That could
You
mean
might
a
just
lot.
say he went straight
Yeah.
straight west, and
Yeah.
the deer just went south. He just, in
Yeah.
the 3-shot burst, but I just sent you the one of him going straight. You're like, oh yeah, he's probably going over there.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I was like, okay, shooter, whatever deer it is, we're gonna shoot this one.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get Jesse to I'm trying to tell him
Visualize, like-
where the hell this deer's at. I'm like, eventually, I'm just like, he's right there.
Well,
You know?
just
Well,
like
I'm like,
It would have been a complete 180 on the tree.
well, I'm just so much higher looking
Oh,
through
yeah.
brush. Of course, October 1st, there's still ass little leaves on the trees.
Right.
So I'm like trying to bend. Of course, I can't get him on camera. After I can visually see him with my eyes, I can't get him on camera. And but obviously, we watched him stand there, and look. Of course, that's what mature deer do. It's like
I feel like that time of year, that's all they do. They
just
it's like when I shot mine at the creek. They just
get to a point,
Chilling.
got nothing to do.
analyze everything.
I almost wonder if he maybe got a whiff of something when that wind did switch, and he was just checking it out before he went on to do his own thing.
He'd probably come up that crown where he could get the wind really good.
Yeah,
and it was like,
because that's about right where he
I'm
was.
just gonna chill right here. I can get the wind really good off this. Make sure there's nobody gonna backdoor me here. Before
I
come
thought
out.
he was maybe going to try to backdoor us and come up that ditch.
Yeah.
But so he's standing there looking away, and I mean, he probably stood there a good solid 5-8 minutes. Like, it was a while. And I was like, man, this is how it's gonna go. Like, we're gonna get this close, get 80 yards away, and he's just gonna go northwest here, and you know that'll be the hunt tonight. And then, as soon as I start thinking that, some bitch turns around and starts coming, getting back towards the trail. I'm like, okay, he's coming. Stops, feeds a little bit, and the time from him doing the 180 to come back towards us till the shot was probably another 4 minutes. It took him
At least, yeah.
It took him a
He fed
decent
he
a bit.
browsed on greens for however long.
He was up
a while.
early as hell.
Yeah, I'd
And
say
you
it
guys
As
are
soon as that rain stopped.
you
it
guys
was
are what
up.
60, 70 yards from the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to get past you, he's pretty much out feeding in the beans. You know what I mean? Like, so you got to think about the timeline. He's like, well, I'm up now. I got wet, and I don't know what it is about that.
I don't know
that's-
either, man.
What's
but
funny is both the deer we killed first this year, we see him in binos before we seen him in real life.
Actual, yeah.
Yeah, like we're like, oh, there's a deer in the walk in the binos. I'm like, I think there's a deer. Oh yeah, that's a deer.
Yeah. And so there's kind of like what I called the front door to the bedding. It was just a really thick, dense 15-yard, 20-yard long brush area that was thicker than the rest. And he entered the back of that, and now he's on the trail. He's on the trail the camera's on. I'm like, all right, here we go. He's going to come out. He's going to be right here.
But we can't see him.
And we're going to be good, but we're going to lose him for 20 yards.
Yeah. Like,
And-
so we're on pins and needles. Of course, it just rained. Can't hear anything
Yeah,
in there because
nothing.
the leaves are all wet. So he's slipping through.
And we already know he's taking his sweet-ass
Right.
time.
So it's like at some point he's going to come out, but when? Because
Yeah.
when he's coming out, he's going to be at like 25, not less than 20 yards.
Yeah, ideally, it would have been like, okay, I see him coming through, and I can draw before he gets to the thickest part, which is right at the beginning, and I draw before he's out in the open. And so we're like, okay, there he is. He's coming. Gets through all the brush, and I'm at full draw now. Jesse's getting the camera on him right as he's exiting the brush, and I can shoot him before the camera, or I can shoot him after the camera. And he's now in between the brush and the camera, and I'm anchored, ready to go for him after the camera. And he stops, and he starts looking at us, or at least looking in our direction.
Yeah. I don't. He never did look.
Never
up,
looked up, but
He looked over.
yeah, he's definitely looking over. And I'm like, he's just standing there. I'm like, okay, like, if you're going to be chill there, I'm going to swing over here real quick and be ready to shoot you if you do get stupid and start looking at us. So I'm swinging over, and then he starts walking again. I'm like, okay, back to plan A. We'll just shoot him right after the camera. And he goes by the camera, give him the old man, and shoot. And it's back. Shoot back. Jesse's like, hurry, get another arrow. I'm like,
because he bounded out there and stopped, and I'm like,
yeah. So he bounds off to like 30, 35 yards because I'd ranged that. There was an opening out there. He stopped, almost stops, and I'm like, I'm trying to get another arrow. Jesse's like, get another arrow. I'm like, I'm trying, you know.
Well, yeah, it's just like panic mode at that.
Yeah,
point.
it's just get to shit and get another one down range, and then he just kind of starts going off into the brush again. I can't see him. He's going towards the creek, and he's walking with his tail down, and it doesn't look good. Like, as far as what I seen and remember and his reaction, and I'm like, oh man, like, that was it, you know. And then we're sitting there talking, and then we just like heard the groan, the final groan. And Jesse was kind of, you had the camera on him a long ass time, and you were, like you said, you were up higher.
Yeah, I could see.
And you
his
could see
tail
him
flicking
longer
over there.
than me.
I could see his tail flicking, or what I thought was his tail. I have no idea, but I could see white every once in a while, like flicker, which I assume was his tail, and then it'd go away for like 30 seconds, and I'd see it again, and then all
Still
of a sudden,
standing.
yeah, or yeah, something. I don't know. All I could see was white flickering over there, and then
Okay.
you heard this groan or something.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I think that's the final deal here, you know. And then we're all jacked up because pretty sure Buck's down, you know. Felt better at that point than I did in the previous minute
Yeah.
of that whole deal. And I was like, you know, we need to give him some time for sure. We're going to take the stands down and go back to the truck, make sure he's got plenty of time. We'll watch the shot and, you know, just make sure he's got plenty of time. So, same thing. Jesse's like, what do you need me to do? What do you need me to do? I'm like, just get all the shit. Just get all the shit, you know, and be quiet, you know, just try to be quiet. And I'm asking Jesse, like, man, did you see him go down? Like, is he down? You know, kind of like you always, are you sure?
Yeah.
I was pretty confident, but like you don't want to be too confident and go over there and you know there's no deer.
Yeah,
Or
you're like, I'm pretty
nothing.
confident, you know, and so we just get up to the truck and we watch the shot again, and I'm like, oh, okay, and I can see my arrow. My arrow made it 20 yards. It was a pass through, but the way he kind of carried it the last.
Carry the fletchings and then it fell out.
And then it fell out. So we knew we're at least gonna be able to find my arrow and look at it. And we get back to the truck. I'm showing Cody I'm taking a Snapchat, sending the shot to Cody, and at that point, Jesse and I had already kind of decided that we were gonna go in after him based on hearing the buck, and Jesse 90% sure he's seen him go down, and with the shot, that deer's either dead already or he's gonna live and be fine. So we were just gonna go in and go to the shot site, pick up my arrow, and then just follow the blood.
You think he'd have been a fine? Well, how
No, he
how
wouldn't have
low
been.
is the exit?
Fine, but
I feel like that's a dead deer no matter what.
Probably eventually, but
Yeah.
it was
Yeah,
either gonna
yeah.
be
He
like
was either
find
gonna be
him,
dead
find him right away or find him in
Yeah.
a couple days.
In a couple days, yeah. 12 hours, 24 hours, you know. Okay. That makes sense. I was going to say, you were pretty high, close.
mhm.
The exit should have been
Yeah, it was.
like
the entry was like
through the
perfect up
leg.
and down, perfect up and down. Obviously, you know, back. But
Yeah.
Right.
But through the leg, you know what I mean? It looked like it was. So, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So we get in there, and really good blood trail just from where I hit him, and we're just literally walking with flashlights, and we're just
confidence
walking.
was real high once we started following. Buck,
Yeah,
'cause
like,
I'm we're gonna
okay.
find this thing.
Maybe follow the blood for 60 yards, and I'm following the blood, and Jesse's videoing, and you had more of an idea of where the deer went and thought he went down. So I think you were already kind of looking in that area, and you'd
Yeah.
seen him and gave the old flashlight flash over there, and I was just right on the edge of a bush and a couple trees, and heard the flashlight click back there, and obviously I seen it, but I was like, okay, hopefully he's right around this bush, and he was there. And then I circled around just to get up behind him and make sure he was dead, and you know, didn't get bulldozed. So he was dead as a doornail in 60 yards.
Yeah, I guess. Should we talk about how we didn't think it was Pickles until we got up to him?
Yeah, so this whole time,
So
like,
funny. When I got the video, I was like, yeah, that's Pickles. When I got the pictures, I'm like, yeah, that's Pickles.
I've only seen a few trail cam. I don't know. I
Yeah.
saw maybe a half a dozen, maybe not even that. But the deer looked way bigger in person than he did in those pictures.
Yeah, when I seen
Trail
him in
cams
the
are deceiving when
They
they're quartering
are.
away.
when I seen him in the binos, I was like, holy shit! Like we got
We got
10,
something
9
going on
inch
here.
2s and 3s on this deer. Like this
Yeah.
is absolute stud.
He looked 20 inches bigger in person.
I told
than
you
on those
150,
pictures.
didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
I said he's probably right around 150 when you were going in there, and I mean, pretty damn close. I thought his brows were split all the way down, but they weren't. So that messed me up a couple inches. But I was like, that's like a 150 class deer, like a pretty solid. I'm really good at judging them on trail cam. Not really good at judging them when I'm in a tree. Real ass at that this year,
But even looking back at the shot on the film at the truck, like looking at the deer,
Never even
looking at the
clicked.
antlers,
Yeah.
looking at everything, because
I can
nothing
see the
matters.
split too on the
Still
on
can't
the
see
video.
that shit
On
kicker.
the- I can see the kicker on the picture you sent me. I'm like, dark chocolate rack. Yep, 5 on one side, 4 on
Yeah,
the other. I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, that's him.
You're like, yeah, that's Pickles.
Well, homie walks. It is Pickles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, yeah.
But-
when I come around the bush, I was like, it is.
I'm like, okay.
We even talked in the tree. We're like, well, we just killed some random deer. Pickles is still in here. We need to be quiet, and Cody can come kill this thing.
Yeah, I'm like, there hasn't been a random deer in that timber in 19 days. This deer's been daylight on that exact same trail for that many days. Looks exactly the same. I didn't kill Pickles. I'm like, I don't know, bro.
I don't know.
So called Cody and was like, yeah, I just killed some random 9-pointer out here. Absolute stud. He's dead.
Hell yeah.
Got it.
So get down there and sure as shit, it's Pickles and we went in with the cart. Went in confident
Yeah.
with the cart.
Yeah.
And brutal drag to the
Oh, brutal! It wasn't
It's
that far, but so thick.
the shit was
I was gonna
just
say.
thick as balls. Well, because it was right there where that buck was bedded.
Yeah.
About where he died.
Yeah. Like
Horrible.
the first 60, 70 yards
Yeah.
was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was terrible getting him up to the thing. Just basically
I just
straight
feel like
thorns.
any bigger deer is hard to drag out.
Yeah.
Like it just sucks.
Yeah.
Once you start dragging, you're like, shit.
Even though
this-
you got antlers on there, it's just hella ass weight.
Yeah, you're just like, damn. Like dragging Kevin out, I was
Yeah.
like, this is the easiest drag we got, but it's just so thick. Like,
Yeah. We didn't have to drag him that far. It was just like we could only take him like five yards at a time, if that, because he had to knock down brush to get him through.
Literally just almost straight thorns.
yeah,
But
good place for one to be.
yeah, I just could not. Then of course, after we were looking at the film and everything, and I'm just shot a deer, so of course I'm jacked up, and then don't know what's going on, so trying to focus on if it's actually Pickles or not, and just watching the shit, you're not thinking about it. But I was
Yeah.
So probably never kill on opening day again. There's a chance,
Yeah,
but
there's a chance. It'd be hard. It'd be hard as hell, but I wouldn't say ever.
never have a deer on 19 days before
Consistently.
season.
Yeah, not consistent.
That'd
like that.
be.
Was there another deer that went in there after he was out of there?
Nope.
You guys thought maybe there would be.
Yeah.
Would take over after he left, but
Yeah,
no.
no.
Yeah, because
Nothing.
we were kind of banking on like it being good, like it was again, and one of them bucks.
Those weren't in there for some reason.
Well,
yeah.
next year will be this. Obviously.
Well, the
same
next
as-
year the neighbor have corn,
Exactly.
so it'll be
Yeah.
a flip flop of
what it was last
run
year.
shit on the edge of the road if we run shit over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were counting on that week of October, bucks rolling through and shit, and they never did. And we thought one of them would be like, well, fuck it, this is a nice spot here. I'm just gonna hang out.
Yeah.
And never.
Nothing was in there to take him out. So.
Yeah, nothing's been in there to check it out. So.
None of the bucks that were there stayed last year.
Mm-mm.
That were there, on cam. They were just traveling through there, and I don't know why we didn't even get a lot of travelers through there this year.
No,
You know what I mean,
not,
it was
not hardly
it
shit.
was slow. It was when the bucks should have been traveling. The cams were slow for us, and that just showed me that our
We had
cam
a-
placement was really good to kill in October, but
Mhm.
not the first couple weeks in November. We know
No.
we know the cams that we did hung, like the hot corner, middle scrape. Those were good November,
Yeah,
but all the rest of them,
and that's
Watauga was fire in November.
That's what we wanted to do this year, though, was kill in October.
Yeah, and that's what we set up for, and we were kind of like, okay, we don't have a lot of intel on these spots. We know there's bucks there, but we normally are rolled out after October. Let's just leave the cams there and see if anything shows up. Mm-hmm. And we kind of knew that place was shit when we walked into it this year. Yeah. But just see, that just goes back to show you, if you feel confident about a spot, no matter what it looks like, if it was good in the past, probably should check it out. But that whole ground has been wrecked by someone killing a fuckload of does. I don't know what. Like, the bucks aren't traveling the way they normally travel because the does aren't bedded in there like they normally are. There's just no does.
Nope.
Hella food. Hella cover. No does.
A lot of cover.
Probably.
You would think that would make the bucks travel more because they're searching for
I feel like they're not on that property. I don't think they go on that property.
They're not in there after the does.
Yeah, I feel like they're going through there and looking for doe bedding, checking the doe beddings that they know. Okay, there's no does in here.
Gone.
It's just like our king place. North of there used to be 3 or 4 does that bed up there. That north corner, we would have more random bucks come through that place than we'd have, not shitting you, 15 random bucks October, November. Like, we would get 1-2 trail cam pictures of them, never see them again. Now, vacant. It's a ghost town because there's no does there. They're not coming to check that doe bedding because they're gone. They're dead. There's no doe sitting there. They're like, okay, there's no does here.
Yeah, they're dead 100.
Yeah, they're dead.
It's wild.
Yeah. Everybody's like, you gotta kill some does, gotta kill some does. I'm like, well, that's great, but you can screw a place up by
Killing too many.
I feel like our lease has too many does.
Yeah.
You can
We
take
need to
some
kill
off that.
too.
But then you think that and your neighbor thinks that.
Yeah.
And then shit gets out of hand and then now you don't have any does. And then you're like, okay.
Yeah, you do that 2-3 years.
You're not going to hold any bucks,
right.
you know. Just part of it. During that time period, you're going to hold them in October, but you're not going to hold them late October, November. They're not going to chill there. They're going to be gone. That's the only reason Watauga is so good is there really isn't a lot of like awesome buck bedding and shit. It's just because the does are there, and they don't stay there. My deer is the only deer I feel like was bedding there, and all the rest of them I feel like they're just
Flicking through.
Yep, circling through there and rolling out. But.
So back to Pickles. Like what killed this deer is the scouting we did last November in 2020, and having a plan and sticking with it, and just not pressuring this shit.
Yeah. Running cams late.
Running
mobile
cams later.
cam.
Mobile cam.
Going in there and pulling the cam a couple times.
Could have bumped him, or would have left scent, or
would have left scent. I mean, there was
winded ya.
Nothing in there. We never went in there.
No.
Went in there one time. It was raining right after that day. I was like, this is perfect. It was hot as hell. You're like, nothing's gonna be moving. Went in there, set the shit up. Had him once on the south cam, right? Once or twice.
Yeah, had couple in velvet. Nothing hardhorn on there.
Yeah. That south was
shit,
and it was
fire.
It was pretty solid.
The year before.
Scrapes were there. We opened up those scrapes and nothing kept them open like the year before. But we were catching random bucks.
Yeah, just random small bucks.
Cruising through there, but yeah, just confidence in the spot of what you scouted and running a cam in there and not going back. So, and then being able to hang on them quiet, being comfortable with your gear.
Yeah, just executing on the hunt side.
Yeah, because that was like the number one thing we talked about. Like, okay, he's here at this cam like early. Do you even go in that far? Like, but he was like right on the edge of daylight, right there. Some nights.
Yeah.
So you're like, well, you got to risk it. But where I thought he was bedding, I'm like, okay, you're good, because we scouted to the beds. Like, we knew, okay, this is where they're at. If they're in here, they're gonna be here or they're gonna be here. We seen where that small buck bedded, and we know where they were bedding on that hillside coming up out of that on the back of the lake. I'm like, they're gonna be here or here. They're not gonna be bedding in this open flat where you're hanging your stand.
Yeah, I told Jesse after everything went down, I was like, man, I feel like he was bedded closer than
Yeah.
what I had expected.
He come from a different way than you thought.
Well,
right?
I thought he would be more, with the way that trail worked down towards
Yeah.
that washout, I thought he would be coming out from there because he would have to cross it. But I think he was bedded on the north side of that.
Yeah.
Well, he could come out. He could backdoor that washout right out of those cattails.
Yeah.
So he could come out to the west of there or to the east of there.
Yeah, so when I seen him, he was already pretty far north.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was expecting more to like come out
he was almost straight east,
straight
west
west.
of us.
Yeah.
Straight
When
west,
we
yeah.
saw him, and the way I had understood it from talking to you guys is he was going to be more like southwest, coming from
Yep.
the southwest, but he was on the, almost straight west.
Yeah, because I mean, we were on the north side, and the bed, we'll say, is in the middle of that block, but just on the west edge, and then we had the camera on the south. So,
With the southeast wind, it makes sense for him to go out that way
yeah, he can check the whole south
instead
end.
of going this way.
Yeah.
If he'd have come out this way, the wind's at his back the whole time. Right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm thinking right, southeast, south.
Southeast, like in the real
Yeah.
world, it was shooting this
Yeah,
way.
so it'd be.
Yeah.
So if he's coming this way, he's edging into it. If he's coming this way, it's at his ass the whole time.
yeah, I mean, he was getting the whole timber
Yeah,
blown
so it
right at
makes
him.
sense for him to come out that way and loop in instead of come out the
Yeah,
other
he
way.
He looped around and come up and
Yeah, come up into the wind and then
yeah,
hit the
that's
trail.
what he did.
Yeah, that makes sense to me instead of him coming out towards the east and then going straight down that trail because it had been blowing at his back and he had no idea if anything was on that field because he scent checked that whole field with that wind,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
before he got
Quartering into
there.
him.
Yeah.
So that is the story of Pickles. Like, I mean, we killed that deer a year ago,
Yeah.
theoretically,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, the first surgically removed deer.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, this is what we're gonna do, and this is what,
This is
this is
it.
what happened.
Yeah.
Called we were gonna go in there and kill him, and then, the only thing we ever called is we called Squiggles, and that guy is a ghost, bro.
Straight ghost.
Absolute ghostess.
Yeah.
Squiggles is gone.
Yep.
But-
And I mean, we
We
didn't.
almost called. We called the other buck, and then we didn't hunt. He was there. We hunted. He wasn't there. Didn't hunt. He was there.
Which buck?
At King's?
Oh, the split three
Yeah.
buck.
No, not the split 3 buck. The
Oh,
chips and dip.
yeah.
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 We were in there prime time. Homie's phone goes off loud as shit. Bro. October 4th, it like buck daylighted last night, right on the edge. I'm like, all right. Phone goes off. 15 minutes to prime time. Loud
I
as
had
hell.
an alarm set so I could make a post for Grant on our
Yeah.
side for 7. So I had an alarm set for 6:55.
Yeah, just absolutely
Didn't-
prime.
Like
Right.
my shit's set for every day to
Yeah.
just go
Yeah.
off, and
Yeah.
I didn't turn it off.
And then so I was like, all right, we're not. We hunted somewhere else the next day because we were like, all right, we're just in there, and then he daylighted. The day after we were in there, daylighted the day before, the day after we were in there.
yeah, so would have double bucked Friday
Yeah.
night if we were split up.
Yeah, but yeah, but that just goes to show you put that in the memory bank, and
Yeah.
now you know. The first week of October,
You
unless
gotta
I got
sit that
something
tree.
fire going on, I'm gonna set that tree every time I can hunt.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna burn it out.
You got to sit that tree the first 4 days of season.
Yeah, just gonna absolutely burn it out. Don't care if the wind's right, I'm in there.
And like that shit you guys just got to pick up on and keep in the bank. And I don't care if you got to write it down, write it on a dry erase board and frame it, or whatever you got to do. You got to remember shit like that, because like in 2020 when we were hunting, it was like we totally forgot about Pickles.
Mhm.
Like, you just totally forget.
Yeah.
So and this year I was like, we're definitely not forgetting about this deer.
2020, we were spread all over the
We're
place.
we're
though.
we're everywhere.
We were everywhere. We were on like 4 pieces of public,
Mm-hmm.
2 pieces of private. Like it was just too.
It's almost like
too
we had
much
too much
shit.
time to be out there
'Cause we
bouncing
had,
around.
Like we were set up, and then we got Johns, and it was like, oh shit, we got Johns, and we got to get this shit up. And we were like, you know how jacked I was. I'm like, dude, gun season, muzzleloader season.
yeah,
Every year that we can hold this thing, we're shooting a giant. Like guaranteed, gonna kill a giant on this piece. I was jacked, and then I was like, We're going to run cams out here. Going to be giants. First set of pictures, you get like a 160, 170 in velvet. You're like, fuck, okay, yeah, we're on them. We're in the game. Exactly like I thought. You know?
We had December buck out there, too.
Yeah, we had the wide 6.
Super sick.
Yeah, he had the wide 6. That thing's probably a stud right now.
Right?
Do you remember that buck that was like a 3-point and then had it up and then straight over? We got a picture of him this year on the public. He's still alive. I'm like, still same thing. Looks exactly the same. Didn't grow an inch.
Maybe he just kept his antlers.
Yeah, probably just kept his antlers. Yeah. But yeah, man, that's Pickles. Yeah, congratulations, dude. Opening day. I mean, that's like killing a deer opening day. Yeah, kill a doe, but a big deer, not on bait. Like, can't do any of that here. Not on a food plot. Like, you killed him off his bed opening day, first time going in all year.
Yeah, if I had to guess, we were 60 to 80 yards off his bed.
You think you seen him right when he got out of his bed? Is that when you seen him?
Pretty damn close.
Think so?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. I mean,
Pretty damn close. Because I know that
I feel like he was bedded right where we thought on those cattails. And if he went north, he was probably 30 or 40 yards. Just right there where he was at, there's nothing for him to bed right there. There's unless he was just laid by a tree. There's no security cover for him to bed where you'd seen him.
With as slow as he walked from the time we seen him to the time I shot him, he would have had to have gotten up while it was still raining if he was, 120 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, he was
it took
just like you said. He's in no hurry because he's basically out in the bean field at 6:20 that night.
Took him forever to get there.
Yeah, it's just not doing nothing.
Wish you could like bread trail him back and be like, all right, this is where he was.
I know. I just want to know
exact
like
trail he went.
I want to know like every time I shoot it, I was like, where were you 10 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Like that would be cool
Yeah.
if I could just hit the rewind and watch where you were 10 minutes ago. Mm-hmm. But I know where that deer was the previous 19 days between the hours of 6:40 at night and 7:15.
Because
right in front of that tree. And before I forget, because I will, I called Cody and I was like, "Did you get him on camera?" And you're like, "No, I got 3 blanks." I was like, "How did you get 3 blanks?" I shot the deer
right behind the camera.
No, he walked in front of it when I shot him.
Did he?
Yeah. I shot him right in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And then he ran off in front of the camera.
Right. I was thinking
And you're like, "Nah, bro, I just got 3
I got
blanks."
the pictures, and my kids were swimming in the pool at the hotel, and I pulled my phone up right away. I'm like, oh, and I'm like, blanks. I'm like, what the hell? And then I messaged. That's when I was messaging you, like,
Yeah.
how's it going out there?
Yeah, shit's going down out here.
Yeah, how's it going?
He's probably dead at that point, but it was like,
Yeah, probably a few minute delay.
yeah.
It seems like there's like a 3 to 5 minute delay when you get. There's a post on there about how they think people think mobile cam is unethical. I think we should talk about that.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been able to like, oh, there's a buck out here, and then been able to go kill him. I would like to talk to someone that maybe had done that and seen if it's a game changer, but people just say that kind of stuff just to get you stirred up. It don't stir me up at all. I like reading the shit just to see what people think, but I don't know. I feel like if it's a tool, you got to use it.
Yeah.
Like if we could bait, I'd be a baiting
I'll be out there
motherfucker.
pouring it to him.
I was watching that Drury the other day. Just truckloads of analogics.
Oh yeah.
Right on the food plot.
back the truck up.
Back the truck up.
And
shovel
it
a
out.
dually full of analogics.
Got a snow shovel out
Yeah.
the back of the truck.
I'm like, this is insane. That's crazy. But
Alrighty.
we ready to wrap it up?
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, always try to do the right thing. Try to leave a legacy. I about messed that up. And we'll come at you later. Whitetail Legacy out.